Well, Democratic socialist and frontrunner in the New York City mayoral race, Zohran Mamdani, sat down with Martha MacCallum for a rapid-fire interview ahead of tonight's mayoral debate. Mamdani gave several elusive answers, including this apology to the men and women of the NYPD for calling them, among other things, racist. Watch. Do we have that set? If not, we'll go on. Mamdani says it's too early to award credit for the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. Watch here. And we're just going to keep rolling.
Police officers that I spoke to, they don't want a behind closed doors apology. They want a broad public apology for the things that you suggested about them. Will you do that right now?
Absolutely. I'll apologize to police officers right here, because this is the apology that I've been sharing with many rank and file officers. And I apologize because of the fact that I'm looking to work with these officers, and I know that these officers, these men and women who serve in the NYPD, they put their lives on the line every single day.
Yeah, well, we already knew that. Mamdani says it's too early, however, to award credit for the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. Watch.
When it comes to the ceasefire, I am thankful and I have hope that it will actually endure and that it will be lasting. And I continue to have concerns because I've seen reports still, just this in the last few days, that 5 Palestinians were killed by the Israeli military. And that's what gives me pause about issuing any kind of praise or celebration at a moment when it is still so in its infancy.
Would you give President Trump credit or not, to any extent? Credit or not?
I think it's too early to do so.
Too early to say.
But if it proves to be something that is lasting, something that is durable, then I think that that's where you give credit.
He also refused to answer whether he would call for Hamas to disarm.
Do you believe that Hamas should lay down their weapons and leave the leadership in Gaza?
I believe that any future here in New York City is one that we have to make sure that's affordable for all. And as it pertains to Israel and Palestine, that we have to ensure that there is peace. And that is the future that we have to fight for.
But you won't say that Hamas should lay down their arms and give up leadership in Gaza.
I don't really have opinions about the future of Hamas and Israel beyond the question of justice and safety and the fact that anything has to abide by international law. And that applies to Hamas, that applies to the Israeli military, applies to anyone you could ask me about.
And with just 19 days to go, the Real Clear Politics average shows a large gap, with Mamdani holding a 17-point lead over former Governor Andrew Cuomo. Republican Curtis Sliwa trails both with just under 13% support. Kaylee, I think, frankly, his answers were not surprising, but were alarming for many reasons. And he continued to sort of hammer this international court thing and the law and whatever, but I just want to sort of hear your takeaways on how you found him during this interview and his answers.
I found him to be disqualifying, and here's why. You didn't have to listen to the whole interview. All you had to hear was this one line. Mamdani said, "I don't have any opinions on the future of Hamas," after Martha pressed him twice about Hamas disarming. Yeah. That is a disqualifying statement. I have said this many times on this show, and it is difficult to hear, and I will say it again, especially when a candidate about to take over New York City is on the precipice of winning, makes a statement like that. There were babies put in ovens on October 7th, and he doesn't know whether Hamas should disarm. Well, let me share with you a few details. Maybe you haven't been paying attention, Mamdani. These have come out just in the last few days. Avinatan Orr, let's meet him. Let's pull up his picture. He was put in a cage. He just returned home, 5 feet high, kept in the cage the entire time, oftentimes with 5 hostages. So imagine 2 years in a cage this man was in, handcuffed to the cage for 2 years, oftentimes with 5 other hostages. Okay, well, let's meet Ron Brzozowski. Ron Brzozowski, his mom said that he was kept by the bodies of hostages in a room, violently beaten, tortured, denied basic hygiene, and then force-fed before he was left home. And then, of course, we brought up their pictures so many times, Kafir Bibis, Ariel Bibis, who were literally strangled by Hamas and killed. And Zohran Mamdani cannot say whether terrorists who killed those 2 little boys were disarmed. You are disqualified from leading a grocery store. You should be disqualified out of polite society. Those 2 little boys should be here. No terrorists should have arms.
And Tom, I also wanted to play a little bit, in keeping with his anti-Zionism, anti-Israel, anti-Benjamin Netanyahu, anti-Semitism. Here's his response when asked whether he would try to arrest the Israeli prime minister if he ever came to New York City. Watch.
You have said that you would arrest Netanyahu if he came to the United States.
I've said that this is a city that believes in international law, and this is a city that wants to uplift and uphold those beliefs. The Prime Minister...
The United States doesn't stand by the International Criminal Court.
It hasn't signed the treaty for the International Criminal Court. The International Criminal Court, however, has issued a warrant for the arrest of Benjamin Netanyahu.
But what grounds in the United States could you arrest him on?
As it has for Vladimir Putin. I've said that I believe that we should uphold arrest warrants by the International Criminal Court.
I found that telling, Tom, because he obviously doesn't know the law. He doesn't understand the grounds. And he's used to, I think, softball environments where he can play on TikTok and he can create memes and he can talk to impressionable 20-year-olds down in the East Village. But he has no idea when pressed with the facts, the law, or reality in any way what to do. I saw him there as absolutely floundering at best.
He was floundering, but he sees the finish line. And he's thinking, just stay on pace, get across the finish line, try not to answer the questions. And the thing is, every answer he gave so much ammunition to Andrew Cuomo, but I don't see Cuomo. I don't see him anywhere. And it's not entirely his fault. I know he's talking. I just don't see him. I have not seen Andrew Cuomo since the primaries because this guy sucks up all the air. He's so outrageous. Everything he says is a news headline. And what is Cuomo going to do?
That's not why we don't see Cuomo. We don't see Cuomo because Cuomo doesn't want to be in front of the cameras. Come on, this was a man who's been governor of the state. He's done so much. Where is he?
He's crazy. He's got to get, he needs to get out there.
So that was part of it. I apologize, and I am willing to work with police officers, was his answer, upon being pressed over and over by Martha MacCallum about keeping the city safe with law enforcement. Look, he's willing to thwart our federal law as a country, not signing on to the ICC, and just do what he wants to do. And now he'd love to sideline these officers. He's willing to work. These men and women already have jobs. He's the one who wants the job to be able to lead the city. He's not really interested in anybody except for what he's going to do when he comes in, and it is not going to be in the best interest of keeping people safe or holding our federal laws at hand. So what, is he going to personally sign on to the international court? I mean, is he going to sign on to the ICC?
That's so frightening here is that we see sort of this, to your point, this groundswell of support in a lot of pulp culture arenas. So I've been noticing that there are pop-ups in a lot of different apps, including a lot of periodicals here in the city, like The Gothamist, where there's ads for his coloring book and his children's book about him walking through the boroughs. There's T-shirts now with his circusy theme on it that are sort of flooding everywhere. So there's really a blanketing occurring, frankly, of venom, because under which average New Yorkers, I don't think, understand the detriment he would be to everyone's safety, let alone the Jewish people here in this city and the businesses and the like. It is a very shiny veneer on a very terrifying monster.
I mean, listen, should Hamas be disarmed? Yes. Should he have given President Trump credit for his first phase of the Mideast peace deal? Yes. Simple answers, just answer it yes or no. Very simple. Now, here's the thing. He's trying to get this job to run this wonderful city. It's the #1 city in the market. It's also an international city. So people who are watching Martha's interview, they want to know what's going to happen in the city, not just because those of us who live here, but those who come to visit. So he did not answer, what is his plan for New Yorkers? How will he make the city affordable? How does he plan to work with NYPD to make the city safer, like it was before COVID? I felt very safe then. How will he tackle the homeless issues? These are things that whether you live here or you visit this great city, you need to know those answers.
Yeah, well, he doesn't, and the answers that he does provide are absolutely terrifying. Hey, everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.